This KFAN podcast is sponsored by Builders and Remodelers, exclusive Twin Cities provider of Elements Windows. Get the highest quality windows at unmatchable value. Visit buildersandremodelers.com for more details.
Hello, it is Ryan, and I was on a flight the other day playing one of my favorite social spin slot games on ChumbaCasino.com. I looked over at the person sitting next to me, and you know what they were doing? They were also playing Chumba Casino. Everybody's loving having fun with it. Chumba Casino is home to hundreds of casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com to claim your free welcome bonus. That's ChumbaCasino.com and live the Chumba life.
Sponsored by Chumba Casino.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
This is Julian Edelman from Games with Names. Applebee's just cooked up the ultimate option play with their new Ultimate Trio deal. You can choose from 3 of their delicious appetizers and pair them up with 3 sauces for just $14.99. Craft your perfect trio from over 80,000 different combinations in this flavor-packed plate built for one, or to share if you're generous. You could stick with the classic pairings like boneless wings and buffalo sauce, or you could spice things up and try some unexpected combinations like dipping chicken wonton tacos in their honey Dijon mustard. It's time to head to your neighborhood Applebee's or order online today. That's eating good in the neighborhood.
Country's rising star Bailey Zimmerman just announced his biggest tour yet, the 2026 Different Night Same Rodeo Tour, hitting over 30 cities across the U.S. and Canada. He's coming off a sold-out 2025 run, and now he's back with a new album and a massive arena show. The star's sophomore album, Different Night Same Rodeo, is out now, featuring the #1 hit, Backup Plan, with Luke Combs, and fan favorites like Lost, Holy Smokes, and Holding On. Want more? Fans can upgrade with VIP packages that include premium seats, exclusive merch, and access to Bailey's pre-show soundcheck party. Tickets on sale now at livenation.com.
It's Leber time. You have questions for him. Bradshaw and Brian KFAN text line 64686. Is it, when you're doing your job during a game, is it easier when a game turns into a laugher like that? Does it become easier for you to continue to do your job or actually harder?
Well, Dan, that's a great question. Listen, I pride myself on being an analyst. And, analytically breaking down the game, seeing the nuance within plays and letting the viewers and the fans know. When it's a 58-10 blowout or whatever it was, it's like, I don't know, game's over. Like, what's there to analyze after the first half?
Yeah.
So it actually becomes harder, and it kind of becomes a little pointless.
Yeah, I think that's probably true. But you still have to, but you got to manufacture, right?
Paycheck's the same.
You got to make stuff up because dead air does not work on the radio.
No, it does not. And, we have fun with it. We do look at, and thankfully, with all sports, there's always a storyline. There's a Max Brosmer that comes into the game. I actually thought it was quite hilarious that Brian Flores takes his starters out. And, we're like, oh, this is going to be cool. Chaz Chambliss is going to get a chance. Bill Richter's going to get a chance. And then all of a sudden they get down within the red zone. He's like, well, screw this. I'm putting my starters down.
Yes.
Like, I'm not letting this offense score a touchdown on us. It's like, dude, we're gonna win by 100. Like, nobody's going to look at them scoring a touchdown at this point. But he has so much pride in not allowing a touchdown. He's like, I'm going to put my starters back in. And he did.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, that's at least something to recognize and observe.
Isaiah Rodgers. So we were talking about this earlier. My recollection, you would know this better than me, I think, was that part of why the Vikings were attracted to him was B-Flow liked him. That he recommended that this is a guy who I'm spotting from afar that I think can assume a greater responsibility than he has had previously in the National Football League. Is that story right? And what else do you know sort of about this whole process of bringing him in and making him part of what he likes to do or wants to do?
I think a lot of coordinators, even position coaches, I'm sure, in the right organizations that have like the certain amount of collaboration and sort of open door policy. The way I understand it is if you really like a player in free agency or college, you can go to the scouting staff and the GM and the front office and say, I know that you guys are aware of this guy, but I really like what this guy can do. And let's get a further breakdown on what you guys think, and let's kind of like pitch it to the rest of the team. And it sounds like that's what Flores has done with a number of players. I mean, not even just Isaiah Rodgers. The way I understand it, even guys like Jonathan Grenard. I mean, remember we had Daniil Hunter, and we're like, well, he's great and all this stuff, but maybe we just don't want to pay him what he thinks he's worth. And then we get Jonathan Grenard, and we're like, well, isn't he sort of the same type of player? Like, well, not really. Yeah. I mean, when you really look at it now in hindsight, it's like, well, Flores and his staff are like, no, this guy, he can do a little bit more. He's a little bit more, bendy. He's got a little bit more juice off the ball, which is kind of hard to believe because Daniil has such a great get off. So even things like that. And then we all sort of know the story about Blake Cashman. And that was a situation where he just runs into Cashman's Coach Sherrill's in Eden Prairie. And he's like, hey, any interest in Blake Cashman? He's like, well, I really hadn't. And he went and watched the film and then was like, hey guys, let's bring this. They did. So, it's an open door policy, and it sounds like nobody's really grandstanding on certain players, like whether or not they can be or not be on the team. It sounds like if he likes them, they'll do what they can to bring him in.
I was talking to your guy, Adam Thielen, about this earlier. How much on fumbles do you put on the receiver or the running back not holding the ball securely enough, and how much do you put it on just a great defensive play? He thought in this case, at least on a couple of them, it was more of the latter. But what's your general philosophy on that issue? Because every defensive player I know talks about punching it out, but is there an art to it, do you really have to have the cooperation of the offensive, the person with the ball, for it to even be available at all?
Well, I would like to say that guys try to strip the ball all the time, and we're only just focused on the times that it works. But there is an art form to it. I mean, much more so than what I was going through. We heard Isaiah Rodgers and all these guys talk about the turnover circuits that they do in practice. I mean, I was a part of those turnover circuits. We did the same thing. I mean, you kind of go through the process and the technique of trying to strip the ball from behind or in front. But I think the biggest difference is in modern football is they're taught to attack the football as a primary striker, as the primary tackler. And when I was playing, and I even teach my sixth graders, is more like, don't attack the football until you secure the tackle. It's guy number 2 and defender number 3 that comes in where you can attack the football and kind of rip it out only when you sort of stop the runner's feet and you secure the tackle. Nowadays, I think it's really hard for these runners because, yes, they can see contact coming, but they're not really in a mode to really wrap up, right, a la Tom Rathman with both arms as they're going through traffic. They're still making a football move. And then all of a sudden, here comes a haymaker being dropped on the football with precision that these guys have practiced, for months and months and months. There's so much more skill involved. And, yeah, I do think it comes down to the ball carrier just not being ready because traditionally you're not really protecting the football in that capacity until you run into traffic.
Ben Leber is our guest, brought to you by, as always, Sierra Nevada Brewing Company. We're going to have more Vikings talking points a little bit later in the broadcast today. Also want to mention, well, let's get to it now. Let's not delay because I mentioned Thielen because, and I don't want to give away, the suspense or the drama, but let's go ahead and let you issue your Hop Splash Player of the Game award.
Yeah, and I know we have a lot of repeat viewers, as you have on your show, but I just want to reiterate the fact that my Sierra Nevada Hop Splash player of the game is not the most obvious player. It's obviously, it's not like, oh, we have to give this award to the best player of the game because we know that was Isaiah Rodgers. This is highlighting somebody that I think focuses on the nuance of the game, things that don't show up on the stat line. And so as you just sort of alluded to, I'm going to give that award this week to Adam Thielen. I noticed multiple times, and I understand that he did have a Max Brosmer drop, which I'm sure he would love to have back, and I'm sure Max would love to have that back. I mean, imagine your first NFL pass going to a local legend and Adam Thielen. But the thing is, what he's able to do, and we've heard him talk about this when he came here on his second stint, was I want to make sure that as an older vet that understands my role, that I'm that person of positivity every single day, that I bring a smile, I bring a joy and a passion for football and all facets of football. And that's not just catching the football when it's thrown to me. That's also doing the dirty work. And I've noticed, especially in this last game, he was oftentimes in a very reduced sort of condensed formation, very close to Christian Darrisaw, which Darrisaw had a lot of help this last game, in both the run and the pass game. And he was one of those guys, not a tight end, not an extra tackle, a wide receiver that was lined up chipping guys in the run scheme, hitting offensive linemen, outside linebackers, working his way up to a second-level defender, third-level defender in the run game. Like, the guy was just tenacious in the run blocking. And those are just areas where I think leadership really shines, where if you're a young Jalen Naylor or one of these other young wide receivers and you think that your job is to only catch the football when it's thrown, no. Your job is to block when you're asked to block, and not just get in front of a guy and position a guy. It's to attack the blocker just like Josh Oliver attacks the blocker. And I thought that really showed out to me yesterday, and that's why I think he's deserving of this award.
How did you evaluate Carson Wentz's debut with the purple?
He was sound and vet savvy. I mean, was it spectacular? No, but it was sort of what we wanted to see out of McCarthy, is just efficiency, quickness through the reads, progression, like being a half a step ahead as opposed to processing in real time. And I thought that he commanded the huddle really well. He commanded the offense really well. He played with an urgency and not a panic, which I think everybody would give him a little bit of grace, if he comes into this game and, first starting reps in a lot of months and in front of this crowd wearing this jersey, which we all know the backstory with that since childhood. I think it'd be understandable if there was a little bit of giddiness, a little extra pep in his step that kind of threw him off his game, but he was very much in control. I like how decisive he was. I was surprised to see with my own eyes how quick his release is and how quickly he was able to zip the ball in there. I thought he was very impressive.
I'm with you on that. I mentioned earlier it doesn't take much for the projection game to start, and the debate's already broken out about, well, at the point where McCarthy is healthy enough to play, is he an automatic play? I remain, I try to be consistent with my opinion on this. And that is, and you certainly know this part of it better than I, winning is hard in the National Football League. It's extremely challenging and very difficult, even if you think you're good or have a chance to be good. So I tend to think these things take care of themselves. And so my own view is, if the Vikings go to Europe and Wentz starts both games and he plays, let's just say he plays the same level that you just described. Not spectacular, but pretty solid, avoids big mistakes, and is a part of the solution. He's part of the offense playing creditably. I think he's going to keep playing. I don't think that means McCarthy's done for the year. I don't think that means they feel any differently about McCarthy being a long-term guy. But I just believe in winning. And I think if an experienced guy shows some of the advantage of that experience and just seems to be getting on something of a roll, I think he's going to play. I think if he struggles, it's going to obviously be a lot easier to go back to the guy who they wanted to turn the team over to. How do you view this thing in terms of how it might work out?
See, and this is where I would probably disagree with you.
That's fine.
I understand that we're winning in this scenario, if we're winning, we're winning. Why change everything? Because look, I mean, the way that they've constructed this team is it makes it seem like in the off season, well, we have a championship level roster. The only thing that's a little bit unproven is at our quarterback spot.
Right.
So if the quarterback play is elevated to the point where we're not turning the ball over, we're playing efficient, and we're winning games, and we're being competitive, and then all of a sudden you start building this momentum, that's what everybody wants. But what is the long-term plan? I do think it's a little bit of a detriment to the mental development of J.J. McCarthy if he never feels like he's gotten the real opportunity to take control and prove himself. And that's what this is all about. This is all about McCarthy proving it to himself, and it's also he's got to prove it to the organization, and the organization owes him that. You don't make that move in the first round to get your quote-unquote franchise quarterback and then constantly put him on a short leash and yo-yo him around, whether or not you're not feeling it this week, and you're injured, you're going to get Wally pipped, and then only if the backup plays better, you're going to go back in, and then all of a sudden those question marks in the offseason, like whose team is this? If Carson Wentz takes us to the playoffs and beyond or whatever, then what? Are we completely out of the McCarthy situation? Is it just a done deal? Is it now Carson Wentz's team for the next couple of years? I think you invite too much speculation, and I do think it's important for the locker room and for the organization, for McCarthy himself, to go through this whole season where he feels like it's his team, good, bad, or indifferent. We have to know what this kid has. He's just 22 years old. He still has a lot of maturing to do as a person and as a player, and getting that experience is invaluable. And so whether he has a rough patch or not, you got to stick with him.
Well, I guess the question for me is, and you argue it well, but I wonder, because to me what you're describing a little bit is still then I would call a central contradiction to what the Vikings have put together for this season, because in effect, it sounds to me like you're saying you can't jumpstart that. That's going to take some time, even if you love this kid's talent. And yet, on the other hand, you've built a team that it feels as if they think they have a chance to be good right now. And so I think I honestly believe it gets harder for a coach to stick to what you are adhering to, even if it makes, in the long term, sense, if you're winning games. Now, again, a lot of times this takes care of itself. In other words, the Vikings could split the next two, and for the sake of this discussion, Wentz could play, let's just say, okay, right? In fact, one of the games pretty badly. And then it becomes, I think, very easy to say, all right, thank you, Carson. You kind of did your job, but you are what you are for us, and this is what we want JJ to, it's JJ's team, JJ's the guy. I just think that gets harder to finesse if you keep winning ball games and Wentz plays well, even if, in theory, what you're saying makes sense, that you might be losing a season or part of a season. Now, my gut tells me sooner or later, Wentz would come back to the pack anyway, and then maybe that makes the transition easy. Maybe your comeback to that is, but if McCarthy loses 8 games because of that, then you're stunting his growth as well. I don't know. I think winning complicates things. As odd as this sounds, the better the team does, I think the harder it gets to actually make the switch back.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a really compelling argument from both sides of it. I just think it depends on is your goal short term or long term. And to say, can you have both? Maybe. It gets tricky. I mean, if Carson Wentz goes out, and let's just take this all the way to the very end, if Carson Wentz stays in there because we're winning and we win the Super Bowl, what do you do? It's like, is it the young kid's team or not? Are you stuck now signing Wentz to a 2-year deal, and then all of a sudden now McCarthy really is just a backup? Then do you have to move on from him and trade him to someplace? And if we're at that point, I know a lot of Vikings fans who cares? We just won a Super Bowl. This is what and I could see that. I mean, I would totally be on board with that. I'm like, all right, the quarterback situation is the least of our issues. Let's just celebrate the fact that we got our first Super Bowl in the organization's history. But I think if you fall short of that, all you do is just flood in the question marks about whose team is it. And then what happens with Wentz next year? He goes on and let's say he parlays this into something like Sam Darnold has, or even Daniel Jones has right now.
Yeah.
You're still going to bring in another veteran quarterback to be the backup. And then there's going to be questions again. All right, if McCarthy struggles in the first 4 or 5 games, do we go to the backup? I just think that the long-term plan is for McCarthy to be the guy. And you have to let him be the guy, whether he is or he isn't. You need to know. You need to have confirmation, and you'll get that if you play him. You're not going to get that if you don't play him.
Well, the as I said, the cruel part would be if somehow Wentz takes off and KOC sticks with him, even though he didn't intend to, and you have Sam Darnold 2.0, where it ends badly. And you stick with him, and then because you feel like you have to, in this case, because he's, you're winning games, and then you get to the end of the season, and then you see, well, maybe this is why, Carson Wentz is on his 6th team in 6 years. He's got some ability, he can still make some plays, but he's not that guy. And then you'd run the risk of saying, well, have you kind of wasted the whole deal? I think, we went through this with Darnold in terms, if they'd have won the Super Bowl with him, I think they would have brought him back. I really do. I honestly do. Because I think, unless you think it was utterly fluky, and if you're a KOC, you don't have to think it's fluky because you're the quarterback whisperer and worked with him. I think at that point you'd have to. Now, we're getting way ahead of it, obviously. We're coming up on 4 weeks in. I just think a lot of times these things just sort of take care of themselves on the basis of the way the players themselves perform. I don't know. And I know Darisaw, he didn't play until this last game, right? And that obviously stabilized things, even though you said he got some help. The running game was very good. And you got an opposing team that was cooperating, let's face it, where even with McCarthy, maybe you probably win that game because they're self-destructing. But I think part of this is the compliment to KOC, how he works with quarterbacks and feeling, well, if he can make something out of some of the other people he has, this guy had a higher pedigree. He's fallen from grace in Wentz, but he has a much higher pedigree than any other veteran player that KOC has worked with as a head coach.
Right. And I will say this, not to give, I'm only saying this just because I can imagine that if McCarthy played in this last game against the Bengals, obviously defensively, I don't think things would have been any different. So you still have the defensive performance. I still think that he could have moved the ball with the same success. Obviously I can't really know that for sure, but I think that he would come out of this game as a winning quarterback and we'd feel a little different because you look at what he was faced with Chicago and Atlanta. The environment of Chicago, very tough, right? I understand that 3 quarters weren't great. 4th quarter was magical. He went against the defense where they were a very, very high bluff disguise veil sort of look. They gave him a lot of different looks. He probably, in hindsight, checked out of some looks they probably shouldn't have done, but he was confused by what the defense was doing. Atlanta did the same thing. Atlanta came in, they would mug the A-gaps, they would show blitz, bluff out, they'd blitz from depth. They were confusing. Then you get into the Bengals situation, and you couldn't have found a more vanilla, stagnant defense. I mean, they did very little rotation with their safeties. They had just a 4-man rush for most part. Nothing was tricky about what they were doing, and you get the best blocking performance of your offensive line that you've had all year with Darisaw and everybody else. So you actually had more time to process and to be a quarterback. Trust that McCarthy would have led a couple successful drives, and maybe it's not 58, but it's something similar. This is my hope, okay, Dan, is that we're not really talking, this doesn't become a huge talking point because my hope is we go over to the UK. Game 1 is against the Steelers. That's obviously going to be Carson Wentz's game. McCarthy's going to make, which it sounds like he's making the trip, and he played the game that he got injured in. He injures his ankle plays the rest of the game after getting taped up on the sideline. Did not look like he had a noticeable limp or injury from that point on. I know that it probably is sore, and I'm sure they just want to take care of it. My hope is that he plays against the Browns in London. He gets his feet wet again. Hopefully we come back 2-0, and then he gets the bye, and then he's got to face the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be really, really hard for him if the next snap that he takes
Eagles
is against that Philadelphia Eagles defense.
Yeah, but we did talk about that. That's why I viewed, as odd as it sounds, yesterday's game as being crucial. This early part of the schedule, it's so meaty in that middle section, starting with Philly, and it's not like none of those games are winnable, but there's a big challenge there, and so I thought that was why it was so crucial to win, and to me at least split the two in Europe, and best case scenario is you find a way to win them both. So that will be interesting to see if it plays out that way, especially if Wentz plays well against Pittsburgh and they win, and JJ's available, right? Like you said, is healthy. But keep in mind, you know this better than I, Cleveland's defense looked pretty damn good against Green Bay yesterday. That also is going to be a challenging game for whoever the Vikings quarterback is defensively, don't you think?
Oh, for sure. But see, this is part of the issue is that there's a lot of really good defenses that you're going to have to face. If you're going to be the starter, if you're going to be a franchise quarterback, and this is going back to you have to prove whether you're the guy or you're not the guy. And the only way to do that is to be continually thrown into the fire. And I personally, as a fan of the team, and obviously I want nothing but the best for this team, I'm looking out, I'm casting my gaze long term, understanding that I'm going to give him a lot of runway. And if he falls on his face this year time and time again, and we question whether or not he's the guy, I will actually feel better about the fact in the offseason, now we know. Now we know. Now we can actually come up with a plan instead of playing this what-if game. So I'm fully prepared to give him a long leash, a long runway for him to make mistakes, for him to hit some roadblocks and some adversity, and hopefully he climbs out of it. And I know that we've talked about this I know a lot of people have talked about this and brought this up, but there's a lot of really, really high caliber quarterbacks that really struggle for the first year of their career, in the first maybe even 2 years. I mean, I'll even say, let's even look at Jordan Love. There's Green Bay Packer fans right now questioning whether or not Jordan Love is the guy, and he's had how many games under his belt?
Well, now enough. That's true for sure. Good conversation. So do you go with the team? Are you going leaving? Is it Thursday you guys are leaving?
Yeah, we'll leave Thursday evening on the red eye. Not exactly sure what time, but I'll be with the team, and we'll go over all together on Thursday night.
For Dublin.
And, to Dublin. It'll be just kind of a quick turnaround, much like we did last year. I believe it's the same travel schedule where we kind of power through Friday, have a Saturday sort of walk through with the team, and then they play on Sunday. Beautiful.
Safe travels across the pond. Thanks for the time. Good conversation, as I said, and we'll figure out when is a good time to talk to you next week.
Yeah, absolutely. Have a good one.
That's Nacho. Ben Leber, brought to you by Sierra Nevada Brewing Company. We want to react to our discussion regarding the quarterback thing, because I think Ben argues the case well, and let's face it, a lot of this is an exercise in speculation anyway, because not enough has happened on the positive side for Carson Wentz yet to say, well, this is something we got to think about. But it inevitably rears its head when the other guy hasn't played very well, even though he's supposed to be the guy, and the new guy comes in and shows some stuff that the other guy didn't have, and you say, well, how long might the head coach be willing to risk potentially, quote-unquote, losing McCarthy? I just think it's too much about winning, but we'll see where that goes. It's going to be an intriguing sidebar. In the meantime, I'd say just let it play out a little bit, and we'll have a much better idea probably by the time this team comes back from the European.
How to have fun anytime, anywhere. Step 1, go to ChumbaCasino.com.
ChumbaCasino.com. Got it.
Step 2, collect your welcome bonus.
Come to Papa welcome bonus.
Step 3, play hundreds of casino-style games for free.
That's a lot of games. All for free?
Step 4, unleash your excitement.
Woohoo!
Chumba Casino has been delivering thrills for over a decade. So claim your free welcome bonus now and live the Chumba life. Visit ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
This is Rob Gronkowski from Dudes on Dudes. Anyone else feeling hungry? Because Applebee's just cooked up the ultimate option play with their new Ultimate Trio deal. You can choose from 3 of their delicious appetizers and pair them up with 3 sauces for just $14.99. Craft your perfect trio from over 80,000 different combinations in this flavor-packed plate built for one, or to share if you're generous. You can stick with the classic pairings like boneless wings and buffalo sauce, mozzarella sticks and marinara, or brew pub pretzels and white cheddar beer cheese. Or you can spice things up and try some unexpected combinations like dipping chicken wonton tacos in their honey Dijon mustard. The choice is yours. The Ultimate Trio is the perfect way to hit all your cravings in one plate and turn appetizers into an entree. It's time to head to your neighborhood Applebee's or order online today. Now that's eating good in the neighborhood.
This is Julian Edelman from Games with Names. Football is back. That means it's tailgate time. And this season, the only meat going on the grill is Dietz and Watson. Some of my favorites are the Black Angus Dietz dogs, the Italian-style chicken sausage, and the Asiago spinach chicken sausage, just to name a few. Oh, and I love the jalapeno mustard. It's flavor-packed, and you could just tell Dietz and Watson uses the highest quality meats in every bite. Dietz and Watson was born in Philly in 1939, and they've been doing it the right way ever since. Visit DietzandWatson.com/the right way to learn more about the Dietz difference.
Whether you're watching college football or flipping between games on Sunday, sound quality matters. A Sonos home theater setup, especially the Arc Ultra soundbar, delivers immersive surround sound and deep bass that makes every play, every hit, and every cheer feel larger than life. And when you're on the go, the Sonos Ace headphones are a game changer. Lightweight, crystal clear, and with up to 30 hours of battery life, they're built for everything, from podcasts to post-game analysis. Visit Sonos.com to explore the full lineup.
Nice little Monday Night Football game tonight. Is that on the Fan? Oh, Gardner's still talking with Leber. I'm going to ask, I just did my updated Vikings quarterback rankings that have to do with either current Vikings quarterbacks, former Vikings quarterbacks we could have had, so it includes Aaron Rodgers. If I asked you, Guardsy, to do a rankings of the top 5 guests that hold you up at the vestibule.
Yeah.
Can you count them down? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1? Because Leber's got to be up there high.
Leber's up there, yep. We get a lot of, we talk a lot.
Yeah.
I think Leber would probably be number 1.
Number 1, that's what I was thinking.
And then it just depends. Sometimes it's Johnny. Sometimes Johnny and I have some things we need to discuss.
I'm forgetting somebody else who does this a lot.
I mean, Gary Myers.
Myers, yeah, he's not on that
he's
much.
He's not a regular.
Not a regular. Who am I thinking of? There's somebody else.
Gessling.
That's the other one I was thinking of.
And Gessling one, the timing's always tough because
top 5
he's
related.
at 4:30,
yeah,
and I
so
need to do the top 5 tees. So a lot of times I just have to ignore Gessling, whatever he's saying, do the tees, then get back to Gessling. I can do it.
Yeah, it's been done.
I have to do that.
They would have to be towards the top of the.
But I enjoy because there's the other ones. I could give you the list of the people that they're not even there when I pick the phone back up to say thank you. They're just gone. They have no interest in talking to me at all. There are a few of those too.
Yeah, there are a lot of there's 2 extremes here basically.
Yes,
right? Yeah.
You pick up the phone and nobody's there. They're just gone and that's it. Thanks for nothing.
We have Monday Night Football, a nice matchup tonight.
We do.
Ravens-Lions.
Yep,
that's
we do.
A fun little ball game.
Mm-hmm.
Thank God, by the way, Stephen A. is on the broadcast. Somebody sent out a tweet the other day about
you react to it,
and I blew it. I didn't have the right reaction. The right reaction would be, wouldn't it be easier just to tell us the broadcast he's not a part of?
That's true.
That's the better angle on it, and I blew it, and I'll never have that snarky moment back. A lot of tweets, or I should say texts, replying or reacting to the quarterback conversation with Leber and me. Let's get to some of those. We got several Vikings talking points. We're guest free the rest of the way, and a solid hour plus to get into all of this stuff for those just heading home. Dan, we are getting ahead of ourselves with these hypotheticals with Wentz. 2, I agree with Ben. I think we should go with JJ regardless of how well Wentz plays in Europe. That's Mo from Chicago, formerly of Uptown Minneapolis. Yeah, well, past tense for Uptown Minneapolis, I'm afraid. Leber, 100% right. Don't trade up to wait on a quarterback. 651 guy, such a contradiction. Let's be willing to abandon this season to see if JJ's any good, followed by lots of young quarterbacks struggle and need a few years. So what is it? Do not actually care if he's good or bad this year because he needs time, or if he plays and is bad, are we prepared to move on? It's absolutely not the latter. If he's bad, they'll say he needs time. Ben, you say JJ hasn't had time to throw. Average time to throw on all dropbacks for Vikings quarterbacks, according to Pro Football Focus, 1, J.J. McCarthy, 3.08 seconds, 7th of 44. 2, Carson Wentz, 2.55 seconds. 3, Max Brosmer, 1.85. Now, again, Brosmer is in garbage time, which I think even Garzi will acknowledge. If Carson, Kevin quotes Leber, if Carson Wentz wins the Super Bowl, then what do you do? To Leber's point, who cares? These are good problems to have. You play to win the game. If this is Carolina Panther level roster, you have the long leash to sit with the good and the bad of a young QB. I'm not sure how you bail on a quarterback that is winning games and tell vets, sorry, we're going to take our lumps for the next 20-ish games to figure this McCarthy thing out. This team has tried to have their cake and eat it too. They wanted to move to the first-year QB, but have built a team that appears playoff ready, sans a good quarterback. Those two things are often in conflict with each other. Ding, ding. Exactly. This team is too old to punt on the season to allow McCarthy to work things out if he, in fact, struggles. The window feels like it's now. As you mentioned, this may be all moot and will work itself naturally, but it's good discussion fodder for the immediate. That's from City Streets guy. Coaches don't worry about 2, 4, or any years in the future. If Wentz wins, he plays. Guys, Carson held the ball on a number of occasions, had Naylor bail him out of a goal line INT, had way better blocking and benefited from a historic defensive performance and a franchise record field goal. He did okay, but was mid at best. This was a team win. J-Mac would have been right on par in this game. That's why I love your guest, Dan. Your show, Dan, your guests get me going. That's Sal in Blaine. Ben likes McCarthy's chance against Cleveland. Philly defense, you got to be kidding me. He's contradicting himself. A-Rod will be highly motivated since Vikings snubbed him. That's an angle we will cover.
Yeah.
Is this Steelers week? No, that's next week.
No, this is Steelers week.
This is week. Yeah, it's Cleveland the second week. Exactly right. Where else are we? Hold on. There are a couple more to get to. McCarthy is not taking another snap this year.
So he's assuming Brosmer is going to see the field.
Possibly. And watch this get his feet wet against the Browns, arguably the best defense in football. I need Wentz versus Eagles in my bloodstream.
That would be an interesting revenge game.
That certainly would.
That would be interesting.
Big Leber fan. Disagree with Ben this time around. If JJ was 25, time would be more of an urgency. Us old guys would support going to JJ next year, even if Carson won the Super Bowl, but don't replace him this year when we are on a roll. Now, again,
we don't know if we're on a roll yet.
It's too early to call it a roll. I mean, we are playing but I mean, I've projected it out that way, so that's what he's responding to. But I maybe I will be proven wrong, but I do think, I mean, in all honesty, I think we talked about this last year, and that's why it's so silly, because it's hypothetical. But if you win the Super Bowl with Carson Wentz, unless you feel like you literally have won the Super Bowl in spite of the quarterback, doesn't it answer itself? I don't care what the plan is. I don't care how good a prospect you think J.J. McCarthy is. The game is still about winning, and I do think there is. If you accept the Ben premise, which is He needs a lot of work, and there's going to be a lot of ups and downs. I do think that's always, for me, and we've talked about this all summer, a bit of the contradiction of this season. And it was why, if you go back, why I was interested in Rodgers. It wasn't necessarily that I was convinced that Rodgers had another year in him, but it was what just it meshes better because of what else you've built around this team. And I do think there's a chance at some point veterans who are saying all the right things now go, wait a minute now. This is the middle of a season where the object of the game, based on everything you put together here, is, I think, to win. So like I said, I think it becomes easy either way. I think if you win and he struggles, in other words, I think he's got to play. Well, I'll ask you this hypothetical. You love the hypotheticals. Let's say Wentz starts against the Steelers and starts against the Browns, that they decide, even though they're bringing McCarthy, they don't want to mess with that regardless. They want to give him that bye week, give him extra time, because then there's the bye week after that. Let's say Wentz plays at the same level, maybe slightly better, but close to the same level he played at in this game. What do? I think you got to keep playing him. And again, I don't even think you have to say, well, that means Carson Wentz is my starter for the season. But I think you got to keep playing him. I mean, if you buy the notion that even experienced quarterbacks need a little time too, and his worst game is the one he played yesterday, where he did profit, no question, from a boffo defensive performance, I think you got to keep going with it. And I might be, my problem might well be that recency bias. I thought that last game for JJ was wretched. And that doesn't mean he can't be a good quarterback. John Elway, don't text me. I know the games. I think John Elway's first game he threw for 7 yards. I get all of that. But maybe that's what's I don't know, leading me down this direction too much, where I can't get that game out of my head. I just thought it was very jolting. I thought it was very eye-opening that, man, he's got a ways to go just to understand what this is all about and processing stuff at this level. And I know, chicken or egg, he can't get better at it until you throw him out there. But if you're winning games in a season in which you seem to want to win something, I just don't know how you walk away from a guy. And again, I've never been that much of a Wentz guy once he left Philly. I'm contradicting myself. When the Vikings took him, signed him, I said, well, I don't know. Okay, I guess. It just doesn't do much for me. But I tend to believe in the moment, and then you think of KOC and you think, well, all right, maybe he's going to take a little advantage of this thing. Let's just play the thing out, and maybe he'll make it. He's either going to make it difficult or easy.
Yeah.
But if he makes it difficult, I don't think you should look at a gift horse in the mouth. I just don't. I'm sorry.
I probably would not mess with winning. It's really hard, and it shouldn't be hard because we've done this hypothetical now multiple times, including last year with what do you do with Darnold?
Right.
Do you sign him again? I would probably not rock the winning part of it. But then is there almost more pressure on McCarthy?
Yes.
Once he comes back,
No question.
if, let's say, they win 3 or 4 in a row, including the game against Philly, and then Wentz plays poorly on a short week against the Chargers, you just throw him out and go, hey, at Detroit, you're up, JJ. We're going back to Michigan. Connor Stallion's going to be there. Go on and take the ball at Ford Field. I don't know.
It is, but on the other hand, let's say Wentz has 2 bad games in a row, then I think it's easier to finesse it and to say, look, he's come back to the pack. We're now seeing his limits, and we have nowhere else to go. Well, I know where you want to go, but nowhere else that we're probably going to go for this season. So we're bringing the kid back in, and now we're committed, good or bad. We're kind of committed to him because the guy we had brought in intending to be a backup has kind of come back to the pack. You know what I'm saying? Then there will still be pressure on McCarthy, but I think it's easier to say it's your job. We never intended to not be your job. We were just sort of following the way this thing went. I don't know. The schedule itself is what complicates things because, as you said, I think Leber's point is it's not ideal to make his first game back the Eagles game.
Right.
But on the other hand, I'm not sure the Cleveland game, I guess you could say the Cleveland game is to the extent that even if Cleveland's defense is really good, their offense is pretty putrid, so you might still be able to eke out a 17-14 kind of a game, right?
Yeah.
Whereas the Eagles can be good on both sides of the ball. I don't know. I love having these, again, I think it's, as the cliche goes, it's a good problem to have, isn't it?
If Wentz is playing really well,
yes. If Wentz is playing well, it's a good problem to have. If you still believe in what you think McCarthy can bring, I worry that it's going to take him. He's not going to be one of these young guys like the Washington kid who's just going to blossom from the beginning. And then you're back to, well, then, are you prepared to sacrifice the season? Because in effect, then that's what you're admitting that you're going to do at that point. It's easier to do that if Wentz comes back to the pack naturally. It's, I think, almost impossible to do that if a 32-year-old quarterback who's, not like 40, but 32, and maybe he's figured something out through all the, his adversity, is going good. I just think it's pretty hard to say, we're just going to let that go.
Are we going to 42?
We might as well, yeah.
Okay.
I can do a talking point here, too.
And we got the Vikings report coming up next break.
Okay, all right.
Which is fine. We keep doing the hypothetical of what if Carson Wentz wins the Super Bowl for the Vikings? What do? Do you bring him back?
Yes.
Do the situation in reverse because we've seen it. Nick Foles wins the Super Bowl for the Eagles.
Yeah.
They bring him back. He's still part of the team. He actually starts the first 2 games of the next season, but then Wentz comes back to, start, I think, week 3.
I don't even remember.
Foles started for a couple of games, and then they gave it back to Wentz, and then Wentz got hurt again. So they technically went away from the guy that won them the Super Bowl, Nick Foles, to give it back to Carson Wentz.
Well, that they started the season with Foles, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, they didn't decommit to him to the point where they didn't want to bring him back to the team.
Right.
That's the question, the open question as it pertains to Wentz.
And part of that might have been, I think Wentz had the injury carryover until kind of midway through the first month of the season, but it's pretty interesting.
How about the Vikings' hidden gem?
62-yard try, right hash. Will Riker to finish the first half. Snap, spot, it's up, it is good! A 62-yard bomb by Will Riker, a career-long, kicks the Minnesota Vikings to 34-3 for the lead and kicks the Cincinnati Bengals back to their locker room, and they probably want to leave town.
Isn't that... Oh, sorry. So I didn't mean to step on your touchdown call, PA. Isn't that also the longest field goal in Vikings history?
It is.
62 yards.
Yep. Greg Joseph was 61 a few years ago.
Here's what fascinates me about Reichard's emergence. We're taking for granted something that Vikings fans can't or shouldn't. A kicker that reliable with that kind of range. Now, I know the comeback's going to be, well, yeah, and Anderson hadn't missed in 2 years. He was real reliable until he wasn't. So I get that part of it. But a kicker with this range is, now, again, it's the trend. Look, I am old enough to remember when Tom Dempsey, New Orleans Saints, made a 63-yard field goal. Double-check the year for me on that.
I remember watching this highlight as like a...
Yes.
You'll never see this again in your life.
Exactly it.
Yeah.
It was like, there's cats and dogs are living together. There's never been anything like this. And now, kickers are routinely hitting 60, 62, 63, 64. And as Reichard told somebody after the game, there's going to be before you know it, somebody's going to make a field goal from 70 yards.
Yeah.
It's going to happen.
Yes.
And it's just astonishing because that 63-yard field goal stuck out like a sore thumb. In fact, the story, Alex Karras, the late, great Alex Karras, who was playing for Detroit, there may even be a monologue of this somewhere online where he's watching the Saints field goal team come onto the field. And he said, we're out there, we're like laughing at them. We're saying, what are you doing? What do you mean you're going to try a 63-yard field goal? Are you out of your mind? And they're just laughing. They're openly, guffawing. And then they see Tom Dempsey, straight ahead kicker, by the way, even a soccer style kicker, hit from 63. And then the accusation afterwards, we cheated because he had a metal plate in his shoe.
He did.
Because he had suffered from, I don't know if it was an injury or if
he
it
was born without toes.
That was what it was.
On his right foot.
Yeah.
So he used a special custom-made shoe.
Correct.
That was later outlawed by the league.
That's true.
It was 1970.
1970.
A 63-yard field goal, and that record stood for over 40 years.
40 years, and now 55 years later, somebody hits a 63-yard field goal. Okay, that's cool. That's nice.
Let's go to half.
Pretty good. And it is true. These guys are making it seems, on these kicks. Like Reichert's kick looked like it could have been good from 65.
Yes, it could have.
Now, again, that doesn't mean anything because he's got to, you got to try it from 65 to prove the point. But it's an astonishing change in the league, and this kid's he's a young kicker.
He is.
So we shouldn't, again, things change, but he has the look about him and the approach about him that makes me think that he could be around here a long time and could be the essence of reliable. I really believe that.
Because any moment now, Kirill Kaprizov is going to be traded. The Thrill nickname is up for grabs, and Will the Thrill, KOC keeps saying it in his post-game locker room.
Yes.
The Thrill nickname, all the shirts that everybody made, for number 97 for Kaprizov, we just transfer it right over to Will Reichert, the guy who's going to...
Are you breaking something?
No, I'm not. But
I just wondered if you knew something new.
I was told on Friday by somebody, if it doesn't happen over this weekend, buckle up. Because his agent's in town.
As in this coming weekend?
The weekend that we just went through.
Is the agent gone?
I don't know.
Oof.
I don't know. We played an exhibition game, I'm told. But I don't know if the agent stuck
every
around.
day that goes by is more ominous. There's no question. Because at some point, you're back to, what do you want? What's obvious you don't want here. You don't want something that we're willing to give. So, I don't know. Well,
so the Thrill might be up for grabs, is what I'm saying.
That's very possible.
And
very,
PA
very
will open the show with The Thrill is gone. And then we won't be able to put it in the podcast. We'll have to edit that out and maybe just put it online, but then we can just transfer it right over to Will Reichert, and I'm sure everybody will feel great about it.
We have a couple more Vikings talking points to get to. I've got a lot of texts I want to try to include in the conversation as well. Bradshaw and Brian KFAN text line is open at 64686. More Federated Insurance talking points when we return.
Time now for the Vikings Report on The Fan, presented by Miller Lite. Vikings wide receiver Adam Thielen joins Dan Barrero next.
Tyler Reddick here from 2311 Racing. The rush of racing? Nothing beats it. But Chumba Casino comes close. Chumba's got fast spins, fun games, daily bonuses, and all the action you can handle. Now that's a ride. Ready to hit the throttle? Get in the driver's seat and head to ChumbaCasino.com. Let's Chumba.
Sponsored by Chumba Casino. No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
This is Rob Gronkowski from Dudes on Dudes. Anyone else feeling hungry? Because Applebee's just cooked up the ultimate option play with their new Ultimate Trio deal. You can choose from 3 of their delicious appetizers and pair them up with 3 sauces for just $14.99. Craft your perfect trio from over 80,000 different combinations in this flavor-packed plate built for one, or to share if you're generous. You can stick with the classic pairings like boneless wings and buffalo sauce, mozzarella sticks and marinara, or brew pub pretzels and white cheddar beer cheese. Or you can spice things up and try some unexpected combinations like dipping chicken wonton tacos in their honey Dijon mustard. The choice is yours. The Ultimate Trio is the perfect way to hit all your cravings in one plate and turn appetizers into an entree. It's time to head to your neighborhood Applebee's or order online today. Now that's eating good in the neighborhood.
This is Julian Edelman from Games with Names. Football is back. That means it's tailgate time. And this season, the only meat going on the grill is Dietz and Watson. Some of my favorites are the Black Angus Dietz dogs, the Italian-style chicken sausage, and the Asiago spinach chicken sausage, just to name a few. Oh, and I love the jalapeno mustard. It's flavor-packed, and you could just tell Dietz and Watson uses the highest quality meats in every bite. Dietz and Watson was born in Philly in 1939, and they've been doing it the right way ever since. Visit DietzandWatson.com/therightway to learn more about the Deets difference.
Whether you're watching college football or flipping between games on Sunday, sound quality matters. A Sonos home theater setup, especially the Arc Ultra soundbar, delivers immersive surround sound and deep bass that makes every play, every hit, and every cheer feel larger than life. And when you're on the go, the Sonos Ace headphones are a game changer. Lightweight, crystal clear, and with up to 30 hours of battery life, they're built for everything, from podcasts to post-game analysis. Visit Sonos.com to explore the full lineup.
The official bumper-to-bumper updated Vikings former, current, and future quarterback options power rankings are available to you. Will you call it up on your phone for a second via X?
Oh, sure.
Because I need you to read for me number 6.
Oh, boy.
Just as it is offered. Number 6.
P. Tronat.
No, I'm sorry, number 6.
M. Brosner.
Now, I'd like to tell you that I was deliberately using an N rather than an M because of what happened on the broadcast.
With Nance?
But I wasn't.
Nance got to you.
You know what that tells me? It corrected it. Nance is so powerful that when you type in the word, it gets corrected to Brosner just because Nance mispronounced the name yesterday.
That's the kind of power he has.
Great deal of power. Let's start from the top. Number 1, second straight week, Danny Dimes. Number 2, Sam Darnold. Number 3, Aaron Rodgers. Number 4, Carson Wentz. 5, Kirk Cousins. 6, Max Brosmer. 7, Pasternaut. 8, Case Keenum. 9, Jake Browning. And 10, J.J. McCarthy. You think that's too negative on McCarthy?
I mean, he's not available right now.
Not available right now. He just came off one of the worst games in the history of the Minnesota Vikings. So sorry. I mean, I'll move him up when it's appropriate. But right now, that's what I have. Because I had forgotten to put Browning in at all last week. And he finished strong, albeit in a 3-interception game that they won over Jacksonville. He was not particularly distinguished in this most recent game, although he did not get much help from players who couldn't hold on to the football. Give our defensive back, of course, Isaiah Rodgers, some of that credit.
Do we get to call him Isaiah Jr. J.R.J. Rodgers?
People have asked us to.
Is that disrespectful? Because that's what I think of every time.
Yeah, me too. I don't know. I mean, I think it's fine. Or we
haven't had that many Isaiahs around here.
No, we haven't.
That's part of it.
He spells it different.
Oh, does he?
I think Isaiah Jr. J.R.J. Ryder was I-S... Wasn't it I-S-I-A-H? Or was that Isaiah Thomas? There's too many Isaiahs around here. I can't even remember at this point. We could just go I-Raj.
I like I-Raj.
You go I-Raj for Isaiah Rodgers.
Yeah, I-Raj is good.
That works too. All right, let's get to another Vikings talking point. One right up my alley.
First and goal from the 5. Wentz out of the shotgun. 2 receivers left, 1 right. Gun run. Jordan Mason up the middle. And he walks into the end zone.
Yes. From the 5.
Jordan Mason has scored his first touchdown with the Vikings, and the blowout is on. It's 30-3 Minnesota. We're not even at halftime. Wentz hands the ball to Mason, up the middle, into the end zone. Touchdown, Vikings. Jordan Mason has a 2 rushing touchdown game, and Minnesota leads 40-3.
All right, so it's interesting because moments ago I got this text from Flim Flam. This quarterback conversation is moot until KOC proves he can stick with the run in a closer game. I worry less who the QB is right now than I worry if KOC can adjust to who the quarterback is. He shouldn't trust any QB to sling it away at this juncture. Keep playing point guard. By the way, he stole that from Ben Johnson. That was the big bit after the game, or during the game on the broadcast. The KOC just wants Carson Wentz to be the point guard. That's exactly what Ben Johnson allegedly said that he wanted from Caleb Williams. In a good game, by the way. Caleb Williams and
he was great.
Bears, he was outstanding.
Was that a flea flicker?
not only was it a flea flicker, it was the weirdest flea flicker ever because the ball got sent back to him about 20 yards in the air, and he had to kind of reach for it, and he had to wait for it to come down, while obviously defenders now have a chance to recognize it and advance on him, and he still he threw a heck of a pass.
It was great. My oldest son, by the way, just disgusted about the game of the week.
What do you mean?
That it was the Cowboys, because it always is,
I see.
and the Bears.
And the Bears, he couldn't handle it.
He's still, the Dallas thing is, he's 11, and he's already picked up on the Dallas stuff, which, I mean, it doesn't make him Einstein.
It doesn't take long.
It doesn't make him Einstein, because you get beaten into your head, the Dallas, favoritism.
Here's the stat that caught my eye. And again, Flim Flam raises a fair point. You can argue it's easy to hand the ball off, do anything you want to do in a game where you're about to go up 30-3 and higher. But I think you just take it as a victory because mostly from the 5 we like to throw, and from the 1 you'd like to think, well, that's not really going out on much of a limb, but for us it has been. Mm-hmm. Here's the stat that got my attention though: first time in the KOC regime that the Vikings have had a running back rush for over 100 yards and score 2 touchdowns. Rush for 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
It hasn't happened. This is the first time that's happened. So
that is pretty wild.
I hope it's something that, reinforces the notion that, and Mason was really good, obviously. And
he's nice, man.
He is a nice runner. He's got, I think, a little better escapability than his reputation as more of a power guy.
Correct.
He kind of glides nicely a couple times. He can cut back a little bit.
He can get outside.
And, I really thought, well, you're asking him to share the whole, to basically take the whole load, which he largely did and did very well. We had a couple other decent bursts for runs as well, but it was definitely an encouraging deal that you obviously included the running game with some success early, middle, and late as well. Apparently, teammates are calling him Zayraj.
Okay.
No, Zay. So the suggestion is we should just go with Zayraj.
Zayraj is good,
which is fine, too.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's already been established elsewhere. We'll certainly accept that. Stole it from... Who's John Benson? Didn't you mean Ben? Did I say John Benson instead of Ben Johnson?
No, you said Ben Johnson.
I said Ben Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what he means then. I'd tell you this, though.
You may have said it twice. I don't know. But the first time you said Ben Johnson.
In any case, we got at least one more Vikings talking point to get to. We got a full 30 minutes yet to go in this program. And we will get to some more texts because a bunch have come in today on a very victorious Vikings Monday. Don't forget that Monday Night Football can be heard tonight on the Fan. Baltimore hosting. I think it's in Baltimore. The Detroit Lions. That's a nice Monday.
Looking for excitement? Chumba Casino is here. Play anytime, play anywhere. Play on the train, play at the store, play at home, play when you're bored. Play today for your chance to win and get daily bonuses when you log in. So what are you waiting for? Don't delay. Chumba Casino is free to play.
Experience social gameplay like never before. Go to Chumba Casino right now to play hundreds of games, including online slots, Slingo, and more. Live the Chumba life at ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
This is Rob Gronkowski from Dudes on Dudes. Anyone else feeling hungry? Because Applebee's just cooked up the ultimate option play with their new Ultimate Trio deal. You can choose from 3 of their delicious appetizers and pair them up with 3 sauces for just $14.99. Craft your perfect trio from over 80,000 different combinations in this flavor-packed plate built for one, or to share if you're generous. You can stick with the classic pairings like boneless wings and buffalo sauce, mozzarella sticks and marinara, or brew pub pretzels and white cheddar beer cheese. Or you can spice things up and try some unexpected combinations like dipping chicken wonton tacos in their honey Dijon mustard. The choice is yours. The Ultimate Trio is the perfect way to hit all your cravings in one plate and turn appetizers into an entree. It's time to head to your neighborhood Applebee's or order online today. Now that's eating good in the neighborhood.
This is Julian Edelman from Games with Names. Football is back. That means it's tailgate time. And this season, the only meat going on the grill is Dietz and Watson. Some of my favorites are the Black Angus Dietz dogs, the Italian-style chicken sausage, and the Asiago spinach chicken sausage. just to name a few. Oh, and I love the jalapeno mustard. It's flavor-packed, and you could just tell Dietz & Watson uses the highest quality meats in every bite. Dietz & Watson was born in Philly in 1939, and they've been doing it the right way ever since. Visit DietzandWatson.com/therightway to learn more about the Dietz difference.
Whether you're watching college football or flipping between games on Sunday, sound quality matters. A Sonos home theater setup, especially the Arc Ultra soundbar, delivers immersive surround sound and deep bass that makes every play, every hit, and every cheer feel larger than life. And when you're on the go, the Sonos Ace headphones are a game changer. Lightweight, crystal clear, and with up to 30 hours of battery life, they're built for everything, from podcasts to post-game analysis. Visit Sonos.com to explore the full lineup.
Night matches.
Vikings will look to have the luck of the Irish this Sunday as they head across the pond to Dublin to take on the Steelers. Pregame starts at 6:30 a.m. You can catch every touchdown, every sack, every game-changing play right here on the audio home for the Minnesota Vikings, KFAN, and on the go with the free iHeartRadio app.
I'm glad you brought that up. A very special Sunday Sermons edition will start at 5 a.m.
Love it.
On Sunday, 5 until 6:30, 90 minutes. People think I'm trying to shirk. You know, that I'm going to, he's going to take another Sunday morning off. No chance. 5 a.m. Sunday sermons. How many listeners will we have? 12? Maybe 30? A lot of people get up early, I guess.
I would say on Sunday morning.
No,
yeah, they'd be ready for it.
I'm off next week. I'm off the next 2.
No Packer preview this week, huh?
Oh, that's a good point. I hadn't thought of that. Well, they had to tape it this past one, yesterday's, because, as you mentioned, Sinekin was headed to Bloomington.
Was that 8 to 9? It probably was, right? Because of Go for Football Sunday. So did you catch any of it?
I did not. I heard that it was haughty.
Yeah.
And that's why a lot of people doubly enjoyed what happened to the Packers in Cleveland.
Doesn't take much.
That they basically, that the two of them, Blakemore didn't even deny it, that the two of them pretty much made it sound like the division race was already over.
Yeah. And they still might be right.
Might be, so now so we're tied for first, right?
First place club.
We're 2-1. The Packers are 2-1.
Lions are 1-1.
Lions are 1-1 and play tonight, and the Bears are 1-2. With a legitimate chance to get back to 2-2. I think the Bears play the Raiders next week, although we already know that Brady will have already stolen all their plays, so there's a good chance the Raiders have that advantage.
I'd be careful, yeah.
Forgot about that. Let me get to another. A couple people reminded me that the Jaguars kicker hit a 70-yard field goal in the preseason. Preseason, I'm sorry. It's nice. It accentuates the point of the range now is ridiculous for these kickers, but it doesn't count. How many times have we said nothing counts in the preseason? And that includes even 70-yard field goals. What else what do we have left? Well, why don't we basically finish up where we began? Wentz Week turns out to be a celebration of the Vikings' new quarterback.
So the Vikings started in their part of the field, but due to a couple of penalties, now have a first down Bengals portion of the equation. And Wentz fires over the middle. It's caught by Justin Jefferson at the 15. It's a 16-yard grab. The Vikings are in the red zone inside the 20. First and 10 from the Cincinnati 17.
There's a route that we haven't seen much of this year, and that's just a high-low. You take Hockenson and put him on a short curl, and then against the middle open defense, it works so well with Justin Jefferson on an in route right behind him. Wentz had time, though, Paul. I think that's what's most important.
First third down. Wentz back to pass. Throws over the middle. Caught. It is Josh Oliver. Touchdown! The Minnesota Vikings straight down the field on the undefeated Bengals and take a 6-0 lead, led by Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz on third and goal from the 5. Goes out of the shotgun. Xavier Scott to his right. Snap. Pass over the middle. Caught. Touchdown TJ Hockenson. That's his first receiving touchdown this season. Carson Wentz has thrown 2 touchdowns today, and it's 47-3 Minnesota. Wentz straight drop. Fires fires a fastball to the right side. He has a very nice arm. And it is caught by Justin Jefferson at the Cincinnati 40. And he forges ahead for a gain of 14 yards, which means Justin Jefferson is now 5 yards shy of becoming the number 3 Vikings all-time history for yardage passing Anthony Carter.
What a great route against DJ Turner. DJ Turner's rolled up. He's not pressing him, trying to jam him at the line of scrimmage, but he's playing deep third on him. But that throw by Wentz, Paul, the timing of it makes it almost impossible to cover someone like Justin Jefferson. Impressive throw.
Go ahead, bench him. Go ahead, just give the keys right back to J.J. McCarthy. We're going to come back from Europe with a 3-game damned winning streak, and you want to put him on the bench, go ahead. Somebody very early in the show wondered whether this was some kind of a bias against redheaded quarterbacks. Do we have a bias against redheads?
Well, who would the other ones have been?
Was Boomer? No, Boomer's blonde, right? What hair was blue? Didn't Boomer have light hair?
Yeah,
Boomer
it's light. I don't think it was red.
Terry Bradshaw?
Was Darnold a redhead?
Oh, he was.
Was Darnold a redhead?
I think he kind of was. You're right. I think
I only see him with a hat on and a helmet on.
Yeah.
And I'm not looking at his hair.
He was not spectacular, he being Carson Wentz. The game itself allowed him, I think, it's fair to say, to relax and to not really have to worry about doing all of that much. And when you really, we all know when you really learn about a quarterback is a close game, especially going into the fourth quarter, when every pass has a heightened significance. There was no heightened significance once the second half began in that game. You can even say late in the first half. But the first drive was a solid drive. Now, we messed around with some good field position for much of the rest of the first quarter and into the second quarter, and the QB did not look great. He took one bad sack. On the other hand, he did not do anything stupid. And he did make enough throws on time where you go, okay. That's not a bad first look at a guy who basically, wasn't with anybody in training camp. This is the first meaningful game he's played in a while. I mean, he started, I think, the last game of the season for Kansas City when, it didn't mean anything.
Yep, week 17, week 18.
Who was he with the year before that? It was with the Rams. Did he have any games that mattered against the Rams? I don't think so.
Not off the top of my head.
So, you factor all that in. I thought it was a very creditable, solid performance where he, I think, had a good understanding about what he was being asked to do and, frankly, what he needed to do in this game. He did not need to be a hero in this game. But let's not minimize that first drive because and I know there was a lot of nervousness going into that game in that building, right? I know it was inspired by the salute to Jim Marshall and Marshall family members with the Gallahorn, the whole bit. But and I know there was trepidation about, okay, what's going to happen now? We had a terrible game offensively. What's this guy going to do? And they marched right down the field. Did a nice job settling everything down.
Took advantage of some very nice, stupid penalties by the Bengals.
That's also true. That's also part of the deal.
But they finished it off.
But they finished it off, and that was before the defense had done anything. The defense hadn't started taking any balls away at that point. So I'm intrigued to see where he carries it from here, because obviously he'll start the game in Dublin against Pittsburgh, and then we'll sort of see where it goes from there. I will be surprised if he doesn't start both games in Europe, not because I think that's KOC's way of committing to him, but more that I just think they're going to want to play out the injury. The beauty of winning is, you don't have to rush him back. Now, if they lose the game to Pittsburgh, will there be more of an effort maybe to say, okay, we got to rush him? I guess that's possible. I don't know. But I also think with this kind of injury, the bye week's coming up, and I know Philly is after that. But again, if he's the guy you want to turn the team over to, you can't be afraid of the fact that it's the Eagles that you're playing. And by the way, I think the Rams moved the ball pretty well against
They did,
Philly.
and then they kind of just shut it down.
Yeah, so that's what it sounds
and then missed the field goals and had them blocked, and there's your ball game.
I'm trying to think of other redheaded. Brad Johnson Was he a redhead or more blonde hair?
Feels more blonde.
I thought it was more blonde. Bradshaw was more blonde, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Pretty sure.
Maybe you only like dark-haired quarterbacks.
Oh, maybe that's it. I don't know. Very hard to say.
I hadn't thought of it until just now.
4 to 6 weeks, he should come to Minnesota, would be out of the boot in less than a week. What does that mean? 4 to 6 weeks, he should come to Minnesota, would be out of the boot in less than a week.
Someone else hurt in a boot that we talked about?
Yeah, I don't know. Was there somebody else? Maybe I'm missing something. It's very possible.
We forget what we talk about almost immediately.
I do for sure.
Segment to segment.
Well, yeah,
We're
you have to. You have to move on to the next thing. That's what they say in sports, right? You got to move on to the next thing.
Exactly right. One play at a time.
Darnold's facial hair makes him look like a leprechaun. Of course he's a redhead. Okay, Andy Dalton.
Sorry.
Andy Dalton's a redhead.
Yeah, we liked him, though.
Callie McManus, is he a redhead?
I don't know.
I don't remember. Well, you better find out. He's coming to town.
He is.
To exact more revenge.
They had a tough loss Friday night. I don't know if you saw some of that one.
It was a good game. It was actually an entertaining game, I thought.
The first half, it was
crazy.
Everybody, no one could believe what was happening.
Yeah.
They moved the ball right down the field in the fourth quarter.
How did Iowa score 50? Or whatever it was.
Well, they got going in the first half.
Yeah, they
ran the opening kickoff back.
That was an easy 6.
Because I was in the car on my way home.
Yeah.
And I was listening to the Iowa broadcast, and they run the opening kickoff back. And then Rutgers takes the lead on a great drive from Athan. The receivers made like 4 great catches. By the way, it still applies. You have to try to move the ball against Iowa to actually move the ball. Remember, I've been saying that for a decade. Yeah. You have to throw it, and you've got to make contested catches. They did. They score. They think they have a 3-and-out against the Hawkeyes on the drive. They're up by 4.
Good job by the officials?
No, it was a good call. It depends on who you're cheering for. It was a good holding call, I think, on the Rutgers defensive back. Needless, because the quarterback wasn't even throwing there. So that extends the drive. And then the former Jackrabbit, Mark Gronowski, throws a great 40 or 50-yard bomb down the field. Ooh. Iowa guy makes a great catch. Yeah. They score a touchdown. They take the lead. I think Athan threw a pick the next time. They scored on that short field, and there was your ball game.
I think, by the way, your game's an 11 o'clocker, correct?
It is.
Indiana is at Iowa. So that's another one of those test games for the Hoosiers because they're on the road. And then their back-to-back road games, with I think a bye in between, are at Iowa and at Oregon.
Yeah, they have Penn State, too.
And they do have Penn State. Yeah, their schedule's pretty meaty. So they almost have, if they want to stay in this thing with 2 losses, they almost have to beat Iowa, one would think, if they're going to automatically lose to Oregon and or Penn State.
Which I wouldn't say are automatics.
No, I wouldn't.
I think they're going to be great games.
The QB impressed me more in this game than I'd seen him earlier. I can't remember his name or where he came from, but they added a different quarterback from from a year ago. Yeah.
He was a Cal transfer.
It was a Cal transfer, exactly it. All right, let's do this. We'll come back, wrap things up, remind you what we have coming up next, and especially as well on tomorrow's program.
Hello, it is Ryan, and we could all use an extra bright spot in our day, couldn't we? Just to make up for things like sitting in traffic, doing the dishes, counting your steps, all the mundane stuff. That is why I'm such a big fan of Chumba Casino. Chumba Casino has all your favorite social casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere with daily bonuses. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com. That's ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
This is Julian Edelman from Games with Names. Anyone else feeling hungry? Because Applebee's just cooked up the ultimate option play with their new Ultimate Trio deal. You can choose from 3 of their delicious appetizers and pair them up with 3 sauces for just $14.99. Craft your perfect trio from over 80,000 different combinations in this flavor-packed plate built for one, or to share if you're generous. You could stick with the classic pairings like boneless wings and buffalo sauce, mozzarella sticks and marinara, or brew pub pretzels with white cheddar beer cheese, or you could spice things up and try some unexpected combinations like dipping chicken wonton tacos in their honey Dijon mustard. The choice is yours. The Ultimate Trio is the perfect way to hit all your cravings in one plate and turn appetizers into an entree. It's time to head to your neighborhood Applebee's or order online today. That's eating good in the neighborhood. This is Julian Edelman from Games with Names. Football is back. that means it's tailgate time. And this season, the only meat going on the grill is Dietz and Watson. Some of my favorites are the Black Angus Dietz dogs, the Italian-style chicken sausage, and the Asiago spinach chicken sausage, just to name a few. Oh, and I love the jalapeno mustard. It's flavor-packed, and you could just tell Dietz and Watson uses the highest quality meats in every bite. Dietz and Watson was born in Philly in 1939, and they've been doing it the right way ever since. Visit DietzandWatson.com/therightway to learn more about the Dietz difference.
Whether you're watching college football or flipping between games on Sunday, sound quality matters. A Sonos home theater setup, especially the Arc Ultra soundbar, delivers immersive surround sound and deep bass that makes every play, every hit, and every cheer feel larger than life. And when you're on the go, the Sonos Ace headphones are a game changer. Lightweight, crystal clear, and with up to 30 hours of battery life, they're built for everything, from podcasts to post-game analysis. Visit Sonos.com to explore the full lineup.
Broadcasting.
You can join me, I'm Guardsy, Sunday morning, Gray's Food Hall for Kegs and Eggs. North Loop, starting at 8:30. Catch the Purple as they play their first game in Ireland against Pittsburgh. Great food. Your shot to win awesome prizes every quarter. You can get the full details at KFAN.com. Keyword calendar. Show Wrap is presented by American Pressure, commercial-grade pressure washer since 1975.
It's the bumper-to-bumper Show Wrap.
Thank you to Adam Thielen, who joined at 3:30, and to Ben Leber, who was actually part of the Thielen segment. He joined, did Leber at 4:47 for outstanding quarterback speculation and discussion, and in this case, disagreement, I think, between him and me on what the future might hold at the position if Wentz continues to play creditably and the Vikings are winning. Ed in St. Paul reminds me of another pretty momentous game this weekend in college football. The Saturday just behind us, when Mace joins later in the week. Writes Ed in St. Paul, will you please bring up the state of Wisconsin Badgers football and the fire Fickle chance at a near-empty Camp Randall?
Yeah.
They got routed by Maryland, and looking at their schedule, don't see how they win a game. It's tough and brutal. I also want to give some credit. I thought Maryland looks legit to me, too. I am a big lover, and maybe I'm hoping and projecting too much here, when other Big Ten teams show signs of just at least being in the mix, of emerging a little bit. And look, Wisconsin's a mess. There's no question about that. That was not even a competitive ball game. Barry Alvarez left early, but the Maryland actually looked pretty good in that game. So that is one of the things, the developments we'll talk about, because Fickle can't seem to get anything going. A guy who was a great coach, seemed to be on the fast track.
Took Cincinnati to the playoffs.
It's just a disaster going on there as well. And I have rarely seen, I was at Lambeau. The only time I remember it being empty by the end of the game, that was the Randy Moss coming out party game. Mm-hmm. And I watched a lot of that Wisconsin-Maryland game, and by the end of that game, it was empty. Same thing, and that's pretty rare at Camp Randall as well. Now maybe not so rare.
It has been.
At this point.
But people are saying it's back to the Don Morton era?
Oh,
the 80s before Barry got
not
there?
Very complimentary.
No, that's not a comparison that they like. They are not in a good way right now.
No, they're not.
Alumni are tweeting. It's bad.
How could you forget Andy Dalton, the Red Rifle?
Well, I thought we were talking about our quarterbacks. Like, we all know the Red Rifle.
Yeah, then I think it got broadened
I guess I was confused by the exercise for all the listeners.
Yeah. There is NFL history precedence for top teams having success shuffling quarterbacks during the season. Hold on. See if I can scroll down here quickly. Even during games, Madden's Raiders early 70s switched between Darryl LaMonica, Stabler, and Blanda during games. Just win, baby. Morton Staubach, that didn't work. Morton Staubach was a disaster when he tried to switch court. That's when Landry made history and alternated quarterbacks on every play. Not every possession.
Doesn't seem ideal.
Every play. He thought he was ahead of his time, and on that he probably was not. There are limits to how far you can go, and some of those examples are a little bit more complicated than that. Thanks for watching. Thanks indeed for listening. Tomorrow, I'm assuming Seifert will join?
He will, and Johnny Athletic.
Johnny Athletic. Don't forget, Monday Night Football is coming up on the Fan this evening. What on paper looks to be a good matchup. The Lions in Baltimore to take on the Ravens. Enjoy the rest of the evening. We will talk to you tomorrow beginning at 3.
This is Rob Gronkowski from Dudes on Dudes. Applebee's just cooked up the ultimate option play with their new Ultimate Trio deal. You can choose from 3 of their delicious appetizers and pair them up with 3 sauces for just $14.99. Craft your perfect trio from over 80,000 different combinations in this flavor-packed plate built for one, or to share if you're generous. You can stick with the classic pairings like boneless wings and buffalo sauce, or you can spice things up and try some unexpected pairings like dipping chicken wonton tacos in our honey Dijon mustard. It's time to head to your neighborhood Applebee's or order online today. Now that's eating good in the neighborhood.
It is Ryan Seacrest here. There was a recent social media trend which consisted of flying on a plane with no music, no movies, no entertainment. But a better trend would be going to ChumbaCasino.com. It's like having a mini social casino in your pocket. Chumba Casino has over 100 online casino-style games, all absolutely free. It's the most fun you can have online and on a plane. So grab your free welcome bonus now at ChumbaCasino.com. Sponsored by Chumba Casino.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
This is Julian Edelman from Games with Names. Football is back. That means it's tailgate time, and this season the only meat I'm going to grill is Dietz and Watson. I'm loving the Black Angus Dietz dogs. They're flavor-packed, and you can tell they are made with the highest quality ingredients. Sundays just got a whole lot better. Visit DietzandWatson.com/the right way to learn more about the Dietz difference.
Wasabi Technologies is purpose-built to free businesses from skyrocketing storage costs and unpredictable egress fees from those old and top-heavy legacy providers. You know, the big guys. Wasabi is the go-to provider for professional and collegiate sports teams around the world. From Wasabi's AI-enabled intelligent media storage, Wasabi Air, to the industry's only cloud storage service with triple protection against cyber criminals, Wasabi is driving innovation in data storage, all for up to 80% less than those other guys. Try them out for free at wasabi.com.